and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name's Thomas, back again on the channel today with another opposition view. The international break's finally over. We're all coming out of it with about 50 injuries, maybe a couple of suspensions along the way. But to preview our game coming up, I'm joined by Matt from Fulham Focus. Matt, how are you doing today? Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, all right, thanks, mate. How are you?
Well, going in the international break, not too well. Obviously, we didn't hit the
No, not looking good
following the start of the season, but we're not going to talk too much about Everton today. Of course, the focus is on Fulham. Fulham, just a couple of stats so far. The start of the season, currently sitting in 17th, 1 win, 1 draw, and 6 losses. But we'll go just before the start of the season. Transfer business, of course, when you last came up to the Premier League, a lot of money spent, didn't exactly go to plan. A bit of a different this time, not as much money. What did you make of Fulham's transfer business in the window?
I don't think we did too badly. Definitely improved. I think we were a lot wiser with our spending. I think about 35 million spent in the end. Quite a lot of loan signings as well. So I think it just shows the sort of season we're preparing for. If we do go down, then obviously these loan signings won't stay. Not too bad overall looking at it. Quite happy with Areola has definitely been probably our best signing in my opinion. He's just like an unreal goalkeeper, one that we definitely needed as well, I think, just to even have a chance of staying up. So, no, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that was definitely a deal that I definitely paid attention to when it went through. Of course, he did. He came from Real Madrid, then to PSG. Now he's on loan. It's definitely a good deal to get over the line, that one.
Oh, absolutely. He's just the reason we've stayed in games this season has been because of him. So hands down, I think if you ask a lot of Fulham fans, they'll say what a fantastic signing that was for us to secure a player like that. You know, trying to get into the France squad for Euro 2020 or 21. I think it was crucial for him to get game time. Coming to Fulham, a goalkeeper of that calibre, you would think, obviously, as he is starting every game now, crucial for someone like him. I think that's why a lot of our players did come as well on loan. Look at the likes of Loftus-Cheek, you know, in the World Cup squad in 2018. He'll be looking at trying to secure a place in Euro 2020 England squad. So that might be part of the reason that he came as well. So I'm pretty happy, to be honest.
Yeah, and Areola coming in, goalkeepers, obviously we've had problems with Jordan Pickford for a couple of seasons now. I remember looking at that and thinking, no, why didn't we go for that? And then kind of just, what did you make of our transfer business in general? Normally we get quite positive reviews on our transfer window. What did you make of it?
Probably the best in the league. I mean, I think James Rodriguez says it all, doesn't it? I mean, we all know him from the World Cup, you know, that unreal performances that he had for Colombia in the World Cup. Obviously went to Real Madrid, didn't quite work out for him. But everyone knew what a good player he was. Then obviously went on loan to Bayern Munich, still biggest club in Europe, one of the biggest clubs. For Everton to pull off a signing like that, I think it shows their intention. It shows what they're looking to do. And Carlo Ancelotti's definitely got a project going on there. And secure the signings of Rodriguez, Allen as well, quality midfielder. Doucouré, I've always rated anyway. He was pretty unlucky at Watford, really. And then I think combine that with the players you've got now, Calvert-Lewin's definitely coming out of his shell, I'd say. Had an unreal start. So I think the new players definitely complement the players that you already had. And it's looking, certainly at the start of the season, it was looking like it would form a really good group. But yeah, you never know, do you?
Yeah, it has tailed off slightly, but that's the season, isn't it? There's just results everywhere, and
you can't predict it.
No, exactly. But from the last time he went down, I remember it wasn't the greatest of seasons. I think Parker was in charge by the end of that season.
So from about March onwards, yeah.
Yeah, because that was when. If you're a team looking for a win, you need a striker who needs to score some goals. You play Everton. We turned up to Craven Cottage, lost 2-0. I think Mitrovic bullied us all day.
Yeah, I think I think as well, I remember Everton I think they'd won 3 or 4 on the bounce and you'd not conceded as well under Marco Silva. So I think we were already relegated by that point. So we had nothing to lose, and going into that and seeing us come out of a 2-0 win and a performance like that was really good for our confidence. But then obviously a lot of Fulham fans knew at that point, going down to the Championship, quite a lot of those players wouldn't be there the next season. So it was kind of just a formality to finish the season off at that point, rather than sort of let's build for next season now. So
yeah, and that's my most recent memory. I watched past the Championship, of course, watched the playoff. Everyone watched the playoff. So just for someone that hasn't really kept up with the club at all since they went down for the Premier League? How much has changed? Is it kind of a completely new squad? Of course, Scott Parker's still the manager.
I mean, quite a bit did change in the end. So we managed to keep some players, the likes of Kearney, who's been there, for quite a while now, 5-6 years. Sort of the mainstay. Mitrovic obviously stayed, which was crucial to us, really. Ended up being the top goal scorer in the Championship, 26 goals. That was massive for us. Joe Bryan at left back, who obviously was the hero of the playoff final. Marek Rodak was an interesting one. He'd had a few loan spells, ended up coming into the squad and getting his starting place, which a lot of Fulham fans think he deserved, especially after conceding 81 goals a season before. It was always going to be a bit of a struggle. We ended up losing, so Anguissa went out on loan. Seri went out on loan. We lost the likes of Schürrle, who left. Vieto went back as well to his parent club. So we had quite a bit of a change as well. So it was quite a lot of instability going into a Championship season where, obviously we wanted to bounce straight back up, preferably automatically. We've done the playoffs a few times now. So it was all about trying to find that right balance, really. Players that want to be there in the Championship, players that want to fight for us to get up to the Premier League. And those players obviously ended up prevailing, and look where we are now.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, 4 points from your first 8 games. Not the most tremendous start ever. What have you made at the start of the season? Is it something you expected, or?
I mean, it was always going to be tough coming up. Had a lot less time to prepare than anyone else. Obviously, I'm not going to use it as an excuse. It was always going to be tough, however long we had. Trying to gel in a load of new players. I think you could ask pretty much every Fulham fan if they said, "Do we think the squad we went up with are ready for the Premier League?" We'd have said no. We didn't have enough quality in there at all. I mean, going into the Arsenal game, it's like Arsenal are a funny one. You can come out with a result or you can get battered, and we ended up getting battered 3-0. Parker, to be fair to him, give credit to him, he stuck with the team that won the playoff final, which I think, was quite admirable, I think. But obviously going and losing 3-0, we knew there was change that was needed. I mean, Leeds away, we were unlucky, but at the point where we were 4-1 down, there's not a lot we can do. Leeds, to be fair to them, have been great. Would you try and base it off that model? Yes, probably. But then they've got a great manager like Bielsa that actually, we've got to have realistic expectations here. Sheffield United, we really should have picked up 3 points there. Good win against West Brom, but no disrespect to them, it's not the most challenging opposition. Obviously, we should have picked up a point against West Ham last time out. But yeah, ended up walking away with another defeat there. So could have been better, but we are out the relegation places. Still a long way to go, but 17th we'd take at the end of the season, 100%. So it's just sort of working towards staying up, really.
Yeah, of course. And then you spoke about Bielsa there, really high quality manager. A couple of questions have been asked about Scott Parker. I remember when he was hired in terms of experience. What have you made of him in the past almost 2 years? It must be now that he's been in charge.
I mean, it's tricky, really. A lot of Fulham fans called for him to get sacked last year, which, there are games where we should have picked up results. We lost, Barnsley did the double over us. That's a game, those are games we should have picked up points. And they cost you at the end of the season, every point is crucial, whatever league you're in. It's not been bad. The style of football's been a bit different to what we had under Jokanovic. Jokanovic were fast on the counter-attack. We moved the ball very well. Teams kind of figured us out, I think, as well, by the end of it. What's changed actually over the last few games, we've become harder to beat. Last time we were in the Premier League, we shipped 81 goals. Now, it's not the same. We've conceded 1 against West Ham, clean sheet against West Brom. We're not conceding as many. Part of that probably is down to the new signings in defence and obviously Areola in goal. But I think Parker's changed us so we're harder to beat, try and control it a bit more in midfield, get behind the ball as well. So overall, he did well to get us up. Against Brentford, our bogey team, who we always, tend to lose to really, to go and take their own game to them at Wembley, crucial, no fans there to get behind you, to walk away with a win and get promoted to the Premier League. I don't think, even the most optimistic Fulham fans were expecting a big result at Wembley, especially up against Brentford. So to walk away with that win just showed tremendous credit. And I think a lot of Fulham fans kind of turned and was like, let's give him a chance in the Premier League. You know, there's a lot to be said for stability. So we just got to sort of keep the faith, really, I guess. Stick with him for a while, but you know, we know it's going to be challenging whoever's in charge. So
yeah. And I don't just want to focus on the negatives. Of course, Fulham do have some very decent players. So, in your opinion, who are Everton looking out for here? Who are the danger men in your side?
Well, on his day, Mitrovic is a danger man. Obviously, his confidence isn't
always a man I'm
too
worried
high.
about.
Yeah, he's not. His confidence isn't too high at the moment. Obviously, he turned out for Serbia recently, and obviously missed that penalty. And he missed a penalty against Sheffield United, so his confidence isn't there at the moment. On his day, you know, you'd struggle against him. Your former man, Lookman, as well. He's good on the ball. He's quick down the wing. I think Seamus Coleman will have his work cut out if Lookman is to play on the left. He can cause problems, as you guys probably well know. He's been a really good signing for us, and one that we really needed to push our attack forwards a little bit. Kearney's come out of his shell a lot as well, especially he's been pushed further forward to players at number 10, sort of behind Mitrovic. Gives him that freedom to roam. He's been fantastic. So I'd definitely keep a lookout for him. In terms of, obviously, our defence, Robinson, our left back, signed from Wigan. He's quick, up and down the left. He'll try and get forward as well, work with Lookman to try and get those crosses in. So I think Seamus Coleman, if he does start at right back, will have his work cut out there. So, you know, it's I wouldn't say Everton are going to walk over us. It's not going to be easy for them. We've become a lot harder to beat. But, you know, it is what it is. We've got to see what happens. Fulham, until recently, did have quite a good record at home to Everton. Got to try and look at that, I guess. But, yeah.
And you've I've only got 2 questions left, alluding to something you just said there. You spoke about you don't think Everton are going to walk all over you. Have you got any predictions for the game? Any score predictions?
I mean, I'd love to be optimistic and say a Fulham win, but, you know, we've got to be realistic. I'd love a draw. I'd take a draw at home to Everton. Great start to the season. Obviously, your confidence isn't really there at the moment as a team. Not 1 in 4, I think. I mean, by all means, we can scrape a win. I'd love to go. I'll be optimistic and back Fulham and go 2-1 Fulham, I think.
Okay, and then the final question, we always like to round it off, not talk about the game, something a bit different. And this season we've changed it up. Going to put you on the spot a bit just for a moment.
All right.
What is the best, worst, or strangest time you've ever met a celebrity or footballer? It could be any kind of experience, best, worst, or strangest. We've heard some pretty weird stories so far this season. Have you got anything to add? Okay,
so funny enough, actually, it was post regular season last season. I was down my local pub with some friends. Anyway, sat outside, walking, I just hear these like loud group of lads. I walk in, there's 3 of the Fulham players sat there, just randomly in my local. Couldn't quite believe it, really. Really nice blokes actually as well. Good to chatting about the season. But yeah, it was pretty odd actually. Go down for a local with your mates. I think a Thursday night as well, something pretty random. And they're just all down there. Bought me and my mates drinks as well. So it was completely sort of caught me off guard really. I don't think you expect to see the players that you support down the pub. So it was a bit of a
definitely not. But that's definitely good to see. Though. I wouldn't mind bumping into the Everton lads at the pub. So thank you very much for coming on. Thank you all very much. Thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to check out Matt's social media down below. Check out all the Toffee Blues social media. Well, from an Everton's perspective, let's hope we can get back to our winning ways. I'm sure Matt might disagree with me on that. But let's hope for a good result coming up at the weekend. International breaks out the way. All that rubbish isn't back till March. So very thankful for that. So thank you all very much for watching and join us next time on the Toffee Blues.